4.
All right, Shalom, Akim. We want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, HaKodash. The ones, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well out of New York. Peace and salutations and sincere blessings to you brothers out there pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. All right, and Shalom to you sincere sisters out there learning, you know, in humility and in silence. You know what I'm saying? Because if you learn the humility and silence, you might not say anything, but we still see you through the Spirit. All right, so Lord willing, we just wanted to get into a little bit of history. All right, we got the 12 tribe sign, which, you know, is talked about in Ezekiel 37. Okay, and we know that we're in that time where all the tribes are coming back together under the guise of the house of David. All right, we're just going to give some edification on where we come from, what we went through, and then what's going to happen.
It's the book of Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies. And in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Right. So we pissed the Lord off, and he said, I'm going to send you to be a slave, basically. I'm going to send you under captivity. God.
Okay, it says, thus says the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord.
Yep. Yeah, because our people, their minds have departed from the Lord. Their minds have departed from the spiritual connection, and so, you know, they're seeing, like right now, we're seeing a rise in armed sales. Okay, they're seeing a rise in, you know, violence. People. I was just at the store. Some dude tried to run out with an arm full of food yesterday. All right, so you got people becoming restless, and rather than seeking the Lord because they understand that He's the one who created this punishment, they're trying to use carnal methods and carnal ideas to try to get over God.
For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh.
Yep.
But shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabit it.
Yeah, the salt land, that's the bad shit. That's where nothing grows, God.
Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, in whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit.
Right. So hey, you want to be like that tree that's beside the river. Okay, you want to be when the time comes, because all these things going on right now, these are spiritual matters. This is the end of days. All right, so you want to be beside that spiritual those waters. All right. You want to be found safe. He said, well, I'm going to make you like heat in the desert if you don't. That means you're going to get burned up. God.
It's the book of Psalms chapter 1. It says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruits in his season. His leaf shall also not wither, and whither he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff, which the wind carrieth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous.
Right. And like you said, you're going to meditate day and night upon the law. Okay? You're going to give your mind over to the Heavenly Father and the laws that He set up, which were never done away with, but right now we currently are under grace. Okay? Because we know, according to the law, all things that are lawful are not necessarily expedient. Okay? But you still gonna give your mind over to the things that the Lord has set up, right? His ministry, his prophecies, all those things like the brother just read. Right? Like you got up in Chicago, they just did a meeting. They just did, because that's like the hot spot right now. They did a meeting on what they're doing for COVID-19 and XYZ, and then you had Jake go up in there. Yeah, you know, I'm here from multicultural affairs, and you know, we want to use this opportunity to give Chicagoans resources that they've never received. It's too late. Right? This place is about to be burnt up and destroyed. But and you know, so-called Negro, hey, all the tribes, they've complained about reparations. But then we just got this stimulus package. Everybody got $1,200. So, you know, they got the money just sitting there. All right. So that's why ultimately we're going up to the Heavenly Father, man. We're not going to Esau. We're not trying to make ourselves, what is it, the congregation of the scornful. Let's just read this. So let's go. As it said, join not the congregation of.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
Counsel of the ungodly, yeah. Exactly. All right, and the governor, or the mayor, she's a well-known dyke. She's a stud. So that's all ungodly. And Chicago's so fucking corrupt. So this shit is all ungodly, man. From the leadership on down, right? That's why with the presidency even, they're talking about, look, you got to choose the less of two evils. It's always been like that, all right? But now, thanks to the information age, thanks to the exposure that Esau's, bringing upon himself as well, thanks to the Israelites who were bringing out scriptural understanding on Esau, now people are starting to see. Now people are starting to finally wake up on how corrupt this place is. Right? And you got the middle class under pressure right now too. It might not be a middle class for too long. All right, they're starting to get pissed off too because they can see that the higher ups are totally corrupt.
This Luke chapter 4, verse 4, it says, O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us.
That's right. That's right. Hey, so the things that are say, hey, knowing that black people, so-called black, so-called Native American, so-called Latino people, we're the true chosen people. There's going to be a recompense. There's going to be an answer for the shit that we've had to go through. It wasn't all for nothing. That's pleasing to us. All right, seeing that despite all of the plans and the plots and the schemes and all the secret meetings and councils this man had, that shit is going to come for nothing, for zero. It's pleasing to us. God.
We know how to please the Heavenly Father. If when the world, which they're waking up to it, and they're seeing that the reason that everything's on the state of decline is because the Most High is angry at this place. The question then they're going to ask is, well, what should we do? Well, the thing is, the Israelites, we already know what's right to do and what's required of us in these days. And it's not to join hands with the society and try to maintain it while it's crumbling. That's not what the Lord said. If anything, He said to sit back and watch it burn. But Jake feel like compelled to help their enemy because they see that they're falling. So they feel that they got to step in, which is just that slave mentality kicking in all over. If Massa falls, and in his eyes, okay, so that means we fall. If Massa's sick, that means we sick. America has an exclusive opioid crisis that's mainly affecting Edomites, Caucasians. The Israelite man to go in there and say, yeah, we need to stop our people from dying from this stuff. And it's really them. That's Jake. They join their hands into their oppressor versus, the Lord.
I think I read an article that said in Indiana, it's about 13 people killing themselves every day. It's about 13. You can only wonder, what the numbers. I couldn't find the numbers for every state. They're not gonna show you that, but we know the numbers up there. With a lot of you Edomites, you offer yourselves because you know and understand, that you're the wicked. you know, and you understand that all the shit that you've built up with and all the scams and the shit you've gotten away with is gonna come to a close, all right? And just like out there in Michigan, you know, they had those militia people run up to the government buildings and shit, and then what did they do? They had them dance around in blackface on fucking stage. Still, even in crisis, they're making a mockery of Jake. You watch Gangs of New York, they show, you know, the formation of New York and how, you know, Edomites was raising hell up against each other because similar shit that's happening now was happening then. What did they do? They start rioting, they start hunting down Jake, lynching Jake, killing. So they're gonna try to destroy you anyway when that shit hits the fan. They're gonna come after you, ain't gonna be no friendship, all right? That's why you need that hedge, you need that protection.
Job 35, verse 9. It says, by reason of the multitude of oppressions, they make the oppressed to cry. They cry out by reason of the arm of the mighty. But none saith, where is Yahweh my maker, who giveth songs in the night, who teacheth us more than the beasts of the earth, and maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven. There they cry, but none giveth answer, because of the pride of evil men. Surely Yahweh will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. Although thou sayest thou... Okay, now that's it on that. So yeah, the oppressed cry by the reason of the Almighty, which is Esau. There was a video published today about how people who losing their jobs, people just like now starting to get furloughed. But here it is the first of the month, and now they're doing a pay strike, a rent pay strike, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the landowners because that's how they gotta get their bills is by these people paying. So a lot of them are about to be struggling even worse, and a lot of those people that's affected, of course, are Jake. So they're crying by the reason of the mighty, but none says, where's Yahweh our maker?
That's right.
They're looking at Trump. They're looking at the governor. But they're not considering that only the Lord is the one that's able to provide the things you need in a time of crisis.
That's right. Yep, and that's for all the tribes to learn, man, because here it is, man. We're in this information age, man. Information has been made to your fingertips. All right, so for you to scroll past, for you to hear, excuse me, for you to hear all the prophecies, all right, you see us debate our cause. Excuse me, it's like you to see us defend the gospel, and then, you know, discount what we're saying or scoff or any of that stuff. That's just showing that you might not be one of the elect. Right? You want to be one of the elect. You want to follow after the order that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has set up. You want to follow after because it's all going to benefit you, all right? And only us, the Israelites, no other nation. Okay, like they had this shit. We're all in this together, but we're not all in this together. Okay, we got a certain mission. These Edomites, they got a certain mission. Next one is.
This is Hosea chapter 2, verse 5, talking about Israel. It says, for their mother hath played the harlot. She that conceived them have done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy way with thorns, and make a wall, that she shall not find her paths. And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better for me than now. For she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal.
all the things we received, it was given to the Heavenly Father anyway. Okay? Everything you receive, you might not know it, you might not want to believe it, you might not agree, whatever, but that's what it is. It was given to you to the Heavenly Father. That's kind of South. Jump to 2 Kings 16 and 7.
Still on Hosea 2.
Was it 1 and 10? Kind of good.
2 Kings.
You can jump to Hosea first.
What was it?
Hosea 1 and 10.
Hosea chapter 1 verse 10. It says, Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living power.
Right. Yep. In the place where they said, You are not my people, that's where it's going to be established, right? And that's where we're at now. We're in the place where we've been called everything but. Right, you go to these different documentaries on the lost tribes of Israel, it's going to tell you everybody but us. Okay, black, Negro, Moreno, niggas, we've been called all that shit. Spics, Beaners, Native Americans, and Natives, First People. All the names and the bywords you can come up with. Chicano, whatever, Paisano. All the names and the insults that you can come up with. But here it is, we're the Heavenly Father's people. All right, come. And I'm going to jump to 2 Kings 15 to 29. All right, because this is going back into the history of how we were first separated. Everybody on the earth goes back to either a son of Shem, Ham, or Japheth, right? And we know all of those sons, they were around that Fertile Crescent, that Mesopotamia, that Euphrates, Tigris River area, okay? That's where the original place was. Now here's how we got separated. It says, 2 Kings 15 to 29. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tilgath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel-Beth-Maachah and Jonoah and Kadesh and Hazor and Gilead and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria. And Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Ramaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts, right? So that's how some of the tribes were captured. Second Kings 16 and 9, 16 and 7.
2 Kings chapter 16 verse 7. So Ahaz sent messengers to Gal-Pileser, king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me not out of the hand of the king of Syria, out of the hand of the king of Israel, which rises up against me. And Ahaz took the silver and the gold that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria hearkened to him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus and took it, and carried the people of captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tilgath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Urijah the priest the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof. And Urijah the priest built an altar according to the king Ahaz sent from Damascus. So Urijah the priest made it against King Ahaz, came from Damascus.
Right, so they tried to pay off the king, and the king of Syria bucked up anyway, and then boom, carried off the people, carried them off. We know, of course, it was Shalmaneser, which I'm gonna read. All right, so hey, that's what happened. We were at war with Babylon. We were at war with all the nations. All right, but then slowly, they began to take some of us in captive. Then our people, rather than calling on the Lord, They would continue to call on God's idols. We would continue to fight amongst us and stay separated and divided. More of us will carried off. Okay, then now we're coming to the point where I'm going to read where the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom were completely separated. And this is 2nd Esdras 13 and 32. It says, "And the time shall be, and these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in his own land leave the battle they have one against another, and then the innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come to overcome him by fight." Right, so everybody's going to rise up and fight against the Lord. "And he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and be showed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for the wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto fire." Right. So the Lord is going to completely destroy these other nations. But jumping to the point, verse 40, it said, "Those are the 10 tribes," because Ezra was being shown many, many things through visions. It said, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took their counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt." And that can't be talking about Africa, because it was already Ham dwelling in the land of Africa, right? That's why those lands were named after him. Right? And the Egyptians go back to, I believe that's Phut, because you had the 4 sons of Ham, Canaan, Mizraim, Salakia. The Egyptians go back to Martazarium, which aka Mizraim, one of the sons. Then you had Phut, you had Canaan, Phut, Mizraim, what's the 4th one? Cush, Cush, the water, Cush. That's the so that land was already dwelt. It says they might, and that proves also too that Columbus was not the first to come to the New World. All right, we had already came here, and certain materials they came and grabbed gold and certain types of wood. And they used that, actually, they took that over to create Solomon's temple, right? And they would sail over here and do that. That's why the Olmecs, the heads of the Olmecs were here, because those Hamites who helped to provide resources to build the temple, we used them to labor, right? That's where the Olmecs and stuff come from. But it says that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth, which Arsareth means another land. About the site, get 1 Kings 11:28. It says, "Then dwelt they there unto the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come," right? And to the latter time they dwelt there. All right, so you're talking about a people who went to the other side of the world and dwelt there to the latter time. That's talking about the northern kingdom. And it said, "The highest shall stay at the springs of the." That's it. That was it on that. That was it on that. That was it on that. And that's why the scriptures say, try the spirit to see if it's of me. When you deal with northern kingdom, just to see, you can clearly see that they're Israelites. You can clearly see they have the same salt of the spirit as us. All right, there's just that animosity we have against each other. And this is a big part of what it's going to read.
This is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 28. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph. And it came to pass that at that time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah, the Shilonite, found him in the way, and he clad himself with a new garment, and they too were alone in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it into 12 pieces. And he said unto Jeroboam, Take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the Yahweh of Israel, Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and give 10 tribes to thee. And he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Because they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonites, shall I say, and Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. Howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince in all the days of his life for David's my servant's sake, whom I chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes.
That's right.
But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there. And I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and thou shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways, and do that which is right in my sight, and to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that will I bless, that will I be with thee, and build thee a sure house, as I have built for David, and will give Israel to thee.
Right. So if he did righteous, then him and Ephraimite Jeroboam, he was gonna rule Israel. He was gonna have that rulership. He was gonna have that seat. You got a lot of the southern kingdom because it's prophesied. It's prophesied Genesis 49:9. It said, Judah's a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and until him shall the gathering of the people be. So you had a lot of people who probably, they was thrown off. Like, what? You giving the kingdom to him? Like, Ephraim? God.
It says, and I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, but Jeroboam rose and fled into Egypt, unto Shishak, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. And the rest of the acts of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom, were they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And at the time Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over Israel for 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned instead.
Right, so Jeroboam and Rehoboam were not brothers, because I know I've made that mistake in the past before, but that's why the scriptures say, "Blessed is he that readeth." You got to take the time to go through it. What
was the last verse?
You can go to the next chapter.
So, 1 Kings chapter 12, it says, And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were coming to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass when Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel, spake to Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, for we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Depart ye for 3 days, come unto me, and the people departed.
Right. Because they were tired of, because Solomon had went off and started to put those idols up and shit. And most of those punishments, every time we do that, those punishments come down on us. Kind of.
And let's see. And I'm trying to find it. Pretty much. Okay, I think I found it. Because at one point, Israel, we didn't have no king over us. We just had the Heavenly Father. But what happened was, Israel saw how the other nations was operating. They said, I want to operate like them, those guys. So what ended up happening was, Samuel, he gave the warning to the nation of Israel, saying that if you take a king, he's gonna pretty much put you under like tributaries and stuff, and tax you and stuff like that. Because this is 1 Samuel chapter 8.
Yeah, because that's why you have a book of judges. You had judges that was set up, and one of those judges was Samson. But then you had other judges too.
This is 1 Samuel 8 and 10. It says, and Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen. Some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers, and to his servants.
Yeah, because that's what the king does, man. His house gets the top of the stuff that gets the lion's share. That's why all these Edomites, Trump is the king, right? We know he has controllers, but that's why all these Edomites kiss his ass, because they want these federal contracts. They want the big contracts and shit. They want to be able to do business in America without impunity, without any bullshit Congress laws, fucking up their money. That's why they get in good with the president. That's why you got two sides of the aisle, and they promote their person to the top so they can get all the money.
It says that he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses, put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in the day because of your king, which ye have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them to the ears of the people. Said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man to his city. So that's when I think he went to find Saul. So that's
I think Saul, he like laid down or something, and then Samuel spotted him and said, get up here, come.
And that's why they were like, when they came to King Solomon's son, or did they go to? Yeah, it was Rehoboam. When they came to him, they said, can you make our burden lighter? Because King Solomon had, you could say a bit of a burden, you could say, on the northern kingdom. which the Lord warned them of that. He said they're gonna take you, they're gonna tax you, they're gonna take your servants, they're gonna come work for him because they're king. Take your maid servants to be cooks, things like that. You can do that. And the Lord said this is what's gonna happen, and the people said that's what we want. So they was like, can you make our burden lighter, so to speak. Back in 1 Kings chapter 12, all right, verse 6. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon, his father, while he yet liveth, and said, how do ye advise that I answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, which stood before him.
So he passed up the counsel of the elders and took to the counsel of the niggas around him, or the young men around him who didn't know as much, right? And that's exactly that's how you know that we're the Israelites, because Jake do that shit now, man. Look at all these young rapping niggas. Look at Chief Keef and Bobby Smith, all of them, man. All of them do that shit. They running with a gang of niggas their age, they ain't listening to nobody. And then when the Lord puts that judgment on them, rest in peace, man. Rest, free my nigga. Yeah. You should have heeded. You should have listened.
Right, he said, and he said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put on us lighter? And the young man that were growing up with him spake unto him, saying, thus thou shalt speak unto the people that shall speak unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make it thou lighter unto us. Thus thou shalt say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now whereas my father did lay you with the heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father had chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
That's right.
You guys ain't got no cigarettes, do you?
No. Right now we're doing something on camera.
I know. That's why I'm going to be on camera.
Are you gonna cut? Go ahead, man. Go ahead. It's all good. Go ahead. Hey, the spirits are active. But yeah, so they told him, look, you the king, man. Basically, you can do what the fuck you want. I tell you shit. Right?
Verse 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to meet me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old man's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young man, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions.
Right.
Therefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. And when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered to the king, saying, what portion have we in David?
Right.
Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam...
Rehoboam sent somebody to take tribute from him, and they killed his ass. They're fucking serving him. Because basically Rehoboam said, this is what Jake do too. Look, I'm gonna be gangster. I'm 10 toes down. I'm gonna put whatever burden on you I want to. So people was like, shit, we ain't serving you. God, what portion does David have to do with us now? God.
Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard Jeroboam was come again, that they sent to call him to the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam was coming to Jerusalem, he assembled all the children of Judah with the children of with the tribe of Benjamin, and 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon.
So they were going to take the kingdom. They said, look, man, assemble the army. You know, we're the southern kingdom, and that's to this day we still got that animosity towards each other. That's why you got northern kingdom. They'll go into prison and they'll war with the southern kingdom, but then they'll be cool with the Edomites who are in there trying to kill everybody. They'll be cool with the Aryan nation and all this shit. All right, and the southern kingdom, they'll do the same thing. The Bloods and the Crips, they'll be cool with the Aryan mafia or whoever the fuck. All right, and then just so they could go at the northern kingdom, all right, because they got that animosity.
But the word of Yahweh came into Shemaiah, the man of Yahweh, saying, speaking to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and the remnant of the people, saying, thus saith the Lord, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is for me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord. Then Jeroboam built Shechem in the Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return unto the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn against the Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
Because that was in the law that 3 times a year they had to go to Jerusalem and make a pilgrimage, all right, including for the Passover. So now he's trying to supplant. All right, and that's again, man, that's how you know where these people were the Israelites, all right, because they try to supplant each other, they're trying to beat each other, they're trying to get over and be slick, and that's exactly what Jake does, man. They try to get over and be slick. Here it is, we're under the boot of this damn devil, and we're trying to fight over scraps and crumbs and shit. All right, it's been the same way since the beginning time.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 cows of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
That's right.
And he set one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made in the house of high places, and made priests of the lords of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. Because he was going off, because back then the priests were still of the Levites.
Right.
So even then he was trying to say, no, we the priests. So you got a bunch of reprobates. Believe it or not, you got a reprobate group, which I believe they're set up. It's full of the northern kingdom, and they trying to say Latinos only are Israelites. So you got the black only Israelites, and you got the Latino only Israelites. I believe that they're set up, you know, they're just set up, and that's what they did back then. They were like, look, we the priests. It's the same spirit, man.
Exactly. That's why when you look amongst all the tribes, you got us going off trying to do the duty of the priests, all right? You go amongst the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans, they're doing that Santeria shit, right? They got those, they dress in all white, and they try to do that priest stuff. All right, you go against the Native Americans, the Seminoles, you know, they got the shaman, the witch doctor, however you want to say it. They're trying to do the duties of the priests. Okay, you go amongst you go amongst any of the tribes. They got some, but they're doing it, of course, on the left hand. They're doing it, of course, to the wicked spirits. Okay, they're trying to do that, all right, because that's what they did. They kicked out the Levites and they took over for them, and they weren't supposed to do that. All right, and that's exactly why it's important to know whose tribe is who's who, and who received what blessing. All right, so you know kind of what lot that you fall in. All right, because when you meet a Levite brother, which we know a few Levite brothers, they have a certain they have a certain anger, which is in their spirit by the Lord, and then they have a certain technicality for law, which, the scriptures are very technical when it gets into the law, the prophecy, and all those different things. Kind of.
And the Hebrew word for Levi, Waya.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the word lawyer. Well, I'm sorry. That's where the word lawyer goes back to, the Hebrew word Waya, which means lawyer. That's where they get that from. They got it from the ancient, the Levites. The Levites, they were in charge of the law and running the congregation, the house of Israel. That's what their duty was. And
I got that real quick. Levi joined too.
Joined too.
Yeah,
they were joined into the Lord, because that was their inheritance. The nation of Israel had the inheritance of the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey. With the tribe of Levi, their duty was to do the will of the Lord, and they had the first fruits of everything that Israel brought forth. So they pretty much was living good, but most of them had a job to do. And the Most High was very specific on them, that any of the high priests, first and foremost, if they had a woman, it had to be a virgin. No widow, no woman that was divorced, and it had to be a virgin. Because the Most High, wasn't like today, they had to have got a virgin, because they had to be like clean, pure. And if they had a daughter that went and played the harlot, she got put to death. She got burned with fire. So the Most High, you could say, for the tribe of Levi, had a higher standard. All right, so it says, verse 32. Two more verses. It says, and Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month and the 15th day in the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel sacrifice unto calves which he had made. And he had placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
Real quick, I'm going to jump in just to hit that point that you just said. Right? It says Leviticus 21:7, it said, they shall not take a wife that is a whore or profane, neither shall they take a woman put away from her husband, for he is holy unto his power. Thou shalt sanctify him therefore, for he offereth the bread of thy power. He shall be holy unto thee, for I, Yahweh, which sanctify you, am holy. And the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profaneth her father. She shall be burnt with fire.
Most High didn't play that. He was a high priest. The wife had to be a virgin, and your daughter had to be in order. If you raise up the right way, but she wants to go and play the harlot, Most High said, just burn her with fire, get her up in the sight. And the thing is, now we're all priests. So that's why when you hear us say, look, we're really supposed to have virgins, that's the truth. We really are supposed to, but good luck in this society, right? But in the kingdom of heaven, we are going to have, women who never touched a man. Okay.
It said, and he that is high priest among his brethren, upon whose head the anointed oil was poured, and that is consecrated to put on the garments, shall not uncover his head, nor rent his clothes. Neither shall he go in to any dead body, nor defile himself for his father or for his mother. Neither shall he go out of the sanctuary, nor profane the sanctuary of his power, for the crown of the anointing oil of his power is upon him. I am the Lord. And he shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow or a divorced woman, or profane or a harlot. These shall he not take, but he shall take a virgin of his own people to wife. Neither shall he profane his seed amongst his people, for I, the Lord, do sanctify him. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron.
This is Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
That's Isaiah 11. I just had, that's the spirit. I just had that. So yeah, Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. And in this story, you can clearly see how Ephraim was on some bullshit, and Judah was vexed as well. All right. Hey, like now you looked at Floyd Mayweather when he started. He was signed to Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy production. And then it was some war over that because Floyd beat him, and so he had to leave that and kind of do his own thing with the money team. So it's kind of the same thing, man. And when I talk to a lot of Puerto Ricans about boxing, they still hate Floyd Mayweather because he beat De La Hoya, but. That's just the lot of Judah, man. Judah's the head tribe, which we believe, I believe in the spirit. Mayweather's a Judite, but, he could be a Benjamite or Levite. Hey, it's just all about fulfilling the lot of our spirits, okay? Because Gad still has to fulfill the lot of his spirit. It said Gad is going to rise, a troop shall rise up and get him, and then he's going to rise up at the end. So we're waiting on these Gadites to kind of, waking up and rise up, man, because a lot of them are still out in the fucking woods. There's a lot of them out here in Missouri still using outhouses and shit. COVID-19 around, they still don't even have running water and shit. Like, they're in a fucking third world country because they've been completely scattered. All right, Reuben was scattered all because they went to war against Esau and they beat Esau for a time. So Esau eventually, when he came to crack down, a lot of those Reubenites, they left. All right, they went, west, north, east, they went everywhere. All right, so we're still waiting on a lot of these blessings to which they are going to manifest. The blessing of every tribe is going to manifest eventually.
This is Ezekiel chapter 23. Because they both went off. To sum it up, both kingdoms ultimately went off.
Yeah.
As we read, Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Rehoboam was King Solomon's son. Though he saw the righteousness of his father, he went a completely opposite way. And that's why the scripture says that I think it's King Solomon that said this.
I'm gonna jump back.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 4, verse 4. He said, better is it to have no children and to have virtue, for the memorial thereof is immortal, because it is known with Yahweh in men. And then also in
memorial, that's what Zion is. Zion means memorial.
It says
through the spirit, you got a lot of Israelites who show a certain talent, and they're named after people in the Bible. Zion, got the Zion Williamson, Ja Morant. Israel still through the spirit names them. Michael Jordan, which his name is a full Hebrew name, right? Maya Ka'ala, Yaradan, and you got many more. Real quick, while you're getting that, this is 1 Kings 12 and 31. And it said, he made a house of high places and and made priests of the Lord's people. I know you read it. Lords of the people which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered unto the altar. So did he in Bethel. And I believe that that's not even the actual feast day that was originally ordained by the priest. I believe that feast day is supposed to be in the 7th month on the 15th day. I'm going to look that up.
What day was that?
It said on the 8th month on the 5th. Jeroboam ordained the feast in the 8th month on the 15th day. I believe that's the feast of. I forget what.
Just read like he made that after he set up those cows. That's what it said. 1 Kings 12. Yeah, and he said 32. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like the feast of Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So he did in Bethel, sacrificing unto the cows he made. So those golden cows, he made that a holiday. So that wasn't even, that's not even in this.
That wasn't even a day.
Right.
That wasn't a day. All right, it's Leviticus 23:39. Also in the 15th month of the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. Ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Right. So not the 8th month, which that's the feast of. I want to say the Feast of Tabernacles. Looking that up real quick, Shalaki. Right, yeah, the Feast of Tabernacles, exactly. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. He's coming up with holidays and stuff that's not in the law. Oh man, that's off. Way off.
And the fact that you're serving a golden cow, that's going on. Those are items, so he committed sin and put it in as a holiday. This is Hosea chapter 7. Chapter 7. It says, when I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria. For they committed falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoilers without. And they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. They are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker, who ceases from raising, after he kneaded the dough until it be leavened.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what Israel loves, man. That's why here in Babylon, Israel celebrating these wicked ass days. They get into it, boy. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Israel loves celebrating this bullshit. Right? They celebrate that with full folly. Right? And what does it say? Folly is set in great dignity. That's why silly shit is celebrated, you know? Because that spirit is mingled in. Okay?
right? And Ephraim there, which was the kingdom of Israel. As you can see, like the brother said, they big into them holidays, man. Cinco de Mayo, Our Lady of Guadalupe. Hey, in Brazil, they have those big ass marches. Women be naked.
Carnival, yeah.
Oh, they big into that shit. Big. I mean, the women are straight naked. The men and the women are straight naked. And they got all kind of dances and stuff because of what they believe. You know? Everybody just, man, it's crazy. You can just look that up. They real big into that. I don't think no other country outdoes what the heck they do.
And that just goes to show you, because what? Puerto Rico, they do Carnival. Jamaica, they do Carnival. The Dominican Republic, they do Carnival. All them nations, they do that same shit. Dia de los Muertos, Cinco de Mayo, all the same, all the wicked high holy days, like the brother said. Right? And then they actually, in Brazil, they actually are carrying the fucking idols. They got big ass floats and they carrying idols and shit, including Cesare Borgia. Alright, so the Lord is gonna really bring more hell upon the tribes, man. Y'all not repenting. Israel won't all turn to the east.
Reuben?
Yes, yep, Reuben.
Is that a woman?
No, these are all men. These are the progenitors of the Israelites. All of these men. These are the sons of Israel. So all these people, these all these nations, these are the true Israelites that are on the earth.
Do you see yourself on there on your father's side?
Yep. What nationality is your father?
My father would be Asiatic.
What is that?
Asiatic.
I can't hear you.
Asiatic.
Asiatic?
Yeah, Asiatic.
I'm saying, like, what nation does he come from?
From the east.
Okay. So you be so-called black, that's what you're saying.
Well, I don't use that term black and white.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah. I would be black, considered black.
Yeah. So you can be considered what? From either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. Because we all intermingle, but yeah. Yep. So you're Israelite. Right. Now, Asiatic, that just means from the east, but I see what you're saying.
Right. But see, I practice Islamism.
You practice Islam?
Islam, yes,
Why you do that, man?
More sign temple on earth.
Yeah, but
I've known principle known to man, love, truth, peace, freedom, justice.
Right. That's what they say. But there are no prophecies according to Islam, though. The prophecies, if you read the...
Prophet he prophesied.
What did he say? What did he prophesy?
He demonstrated circumcision. I started this in...
I'm saying, give me a prophecy. Give me something.
A prophecy. The year 2000, there'll be a black president.
There wasn't a black president in the year 2000.
The year 2000, it was Obama. The year 2000.
That was 08. That was 2008, man.
But I'm saying in the year of 2000, that's what he said. He prophesied that long. I read this book a long time ago. He prophesied that, and it came true in the years of 2000.
Okay, now let me ask you this: what is Obama's father? What nationality is Obama's father?
Obama is probably a Muslim.
No, I'm saying he's not black though. He's African. He'd be considered African. So African.
They say he's a Muslim. I don't really know, but I know he consists of a black man.
He's not black. Well, okay, we'll give you that, but that's not 2000 though. But I got you. But if you really want the real prophecy and the real truth, you're gonna consult with the Bible. Right, that's what you're gonna use. King James. That's what you're gonna get into, man. The Bible. All right. Islam. They got some interesting organizations. They got, they like to wear the nice suits. But they're not telling you the full truth.
You got the nation, you
right.
got Al-Islam,
right.
and you got what I am.
Right.
More scientific America.
Okay. Right.
It came from the east and it was demonstrated in these shows.
But I see what you're saying. But what is the word?
And
What does the word more mean? What does the word more mean? More. What is the word M-O-O-R? What does that mean? No, I'm saying, what does it mean? It means black. More means black.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
Before we were more, because we were called Moors at a certain point. But before that, what were we known as? We were the sons of the living power. We were the Israelites.
Okay.
So you got to go back to the
I'm
beginning.
just saying all these other names, they was really dictating for white people. And the N-word, the B-word, the voice monkeys, and all this old stuff.
Yeah.
And now we taking it on, calling each other, hey, what's up, my N?
Right.
But you let one of the Europeans call you, hey,
nah,
N,
you gonna whoop his ass.
then you gonna turn his ass up. So you know it's something.
Well, that's not our. That's
not.
Well, when they say it though, they're saying it as an insult. That's why Jake gets mad. But we're saying, going back to our original names, this is our original names. All right. This is the original. Look at one of the daughters of Jacob. But this is our original, and that's exactly what's going on, man. Our people are lost. Our women are with the so-called white man. Our nation is scattered. All right. And Islam, Islam is interesting. It's, I've met some characters, but Islam doesn't have the answers to how to rebuild, how to get our power back, how to become as we once were. You can't say that it does. You can't say that
it does, because they say I brought you everything it takes to save a nation, not taking to save yourself. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to start at home before it can be spread abroad.
Right, true.
So we have to learn. Yeah, we have to learn ourselves. We have to learn to love. Everything is demonstrated in love. If it don't come through love, then you ain't gonna understand. You have to put some love in anything you do to understand.
Actually, what is love?
Sorry.
What is love?
What is love? I guess it's emotional, a feeling, a bone, a kindness, comfort,
But you gotta get it.
It's a will, it's a doing.
You gotta know, what was it, First John 3:4? You gotta know, like, how to guide the people. You gotta give them the words, right? And really, everything go back to the scriptures. You know how the saying is, treat others the way you want to be treated. Right. They got that from the Bible. Our Lord and Savior said.
I mean, there's some interesting things in the Bible. I ain't gonna say there's some interesting, but from my understanding, the Bible been tampered with so many times and taking this out, put this in, and
that's what's been said. But really, the King James version is the.
And then they have Jesus as a pale man.
But that's not. They ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. That's just something they made.
But I'm saying it tells you in the Bible how Jesus looked.
He's a black man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so that's just a lie.
Feet of bronze.
Brass as a
wood
burden,
and furnace,
woolly hair.
That's right.
So the thing is with in Islam, though, there's no, like the brother said, there's no prophecies. Like the stuff we going on right now. If you listen to they'll probably say, okay, we need to stay at home. We need to get this coat. They don't know that the Lord already prophesied that all this was coming. He even said that the reason why we went into slavery, that was prophesied in the scripture. See, the thing is, with every Islamic leader, especially if they're Negro, right? They spit all this stuff about, Muhammad this, Muhammad that, but everything they quote, they go to the Bible, they quote out the scriptures. They'll tell you, yeah, we God's chosen people, but God's chosen people didn't call themselves the nation of Israel. There's really no such nation as the nation of Israel. It's the nation of Israel.
It teaches you, we got I'm seeing, in the Circle 7, it teaches the missing years of Jesus, the years that wasn't spoken about Jesus. It teaches on Jesus, but it teaches on supposed to be the missing years that was left out of the Bible, untold.
Yeah, we know, because we know how Muhammad got started, but really when you look up the history of Muhammad, he made himself a prophet, he wasn't ordained. To sum it up, he was infatuated with the scriptures and the Judaism. So he wanted to make himself a prophet, so he took parts of this religion, took parts of this religion, took parts of this religion. He said, okay, look, y'all got to make me, y'all got to worship me as some type of prophet. And he actually forced himself, people to worship, like he actually was killing Jews and such.
That's right.
But the thing is,
it's probably understandable. And I understand little points and little schemes, and you know what I'm saying. The thing is going there to dissect it and pull out what you can apply to yourself to make your life easier. You know what I'm saying?
but what about salvation? What you got to read that, Rick?
I got Romans 13:10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law.
Love is the fulfilling of the law. Now,
Yeah, that's on the Savior of the law.
now it
So,
says, love your neighbor as thyself. Don't commit adultery. Don't, steal amongst them. Keeping the laws, that's showing love to one another. When you want to counsel two like knucklehead Jakes, you got to tell them the law, like what's right or what's wrong. Like, look, you shouldn't have took his stuff. You got to, and if you did offend them, you got to come to him like, hey, brother, I offended you. Sorry. That's all in the scriptures. So the fulfilling of the law, love is keeping the commandments of the Heavenly Father. And to get the commandments, though, you gotta.
Y'all be here tomorrow? I'm trying to catch the bus and just getting off work.
Sunday.
I got you.
Sunday, y'all be here?
Sunday.
I'll probably try to stop by.
Okay.
Yeah,
Talk
because
to y'all again, you know what I'm saying? Cause, religious, I feel, is like politics. You know what I'm saying? Some do, some don't, some will, some won't. You know what I'm saying? It's always a debate, it's always a discussion. But all I say, if a person believes in something, apply it to your words, acts, and deeds. You know what I'm saying? Bring it in your character. Because we say anything is wrong. Man recognize man. Man short of man, still short of steel. So if man see it in your actions, then he'll try to follow.
where they got that from? That's in the scriptures. Iron sharpening iron. Everything, brother, I'm telling you, is in the scriptures. If it's one thing you're gonna hear the prophets, we're gonna tell you one, that you're Israelite. You're not. There is no such thing as Islam. We're just Hebrew Israelites that
I thought that was the first religious here on earth. Islam is.
That was man-made. That's what I'm trying to say. And everything that they quote, they get from the scriptures.
Christianity wasn't man.
Christianity, you're talking about the white man Christianity. That's their altered version of the scriptures, of them trying to teach us that, look, we're slaves, they're the white guys, they're all this. That's called plantation.
White means purity. Purity means God. God means rule of the world.
And that's why they call themselves
So
that.
why call us black and you look in the dictionary and you see all these I don't know how to say it, these derogatory names on black.
That's why they call us that.
Then you look at white, all this beautifying, all this glory.
That's why they call themselves that. But really in the Bible, they're known as the Edomites. Edom means red. They're known as Edom. They established the color line to separate, again, to say, look, we're on top and y'all on the bottom. The scripture says that we will be called a proverb, and a byword is a curse. Like the brother said of prophecies. If you ask why did we go into slavery, I guarantee you nobody can answer you. But we can tell you why. It's because the Lord said.
We kind of probably done it to ourselves.
Well, no, the Lord said that if we disobey Him, He gonna have these other nations put us in slavery and sell your children across the four corners. That's what the Lord said.
Four corners of the world.
That's all prophecy.
Hey, I'll talk to y'all again. It's nice talking to y'all.
All right, just know you're an Israelite. You're an Israelite.
You're Israelite.
Just look up Hebrew Israelites. Just stay out of Islam. You may not convert right away, but this is the truth that you need. You need answers. You can't get that from. You need answers. That's why you gotta go through shit. See, they don't even know that everything they saying it comes from the book.
Right.
Like, it starts within. That's in the scriptures. Be about what you say about. That's in the scriptures. Okay, you get Romans 10. Because it's natural for our people to say, yeah, it's time to do the right thing. But you got to know what the right thing is.
Thou shalt confess with thy mouth.
10 and 1.
Okay. This is Romans 10:1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel, that they may be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of not of the Most High, but not according to knowledge.
They have the zeal. When you look up that word zeal, it means like an excitement of mind, like some type of, okay, give me Isaiah 58. Some type of inherited, infatuation for the higher powers that be. The thing is, though, they go overboard. That's why Paul said they have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. And then they all with the being spiritual, doing the right thing. They ain't got it according to knowledge. They got to be put on the right track. That's why the Lord put the Spirit on Peter to go and talk to Cornelius, because they were considered Gentiles. They were Israelites. They were praying to the Lord. They were being sincere, but they were off. So the Lord sent Peter down there to put him on the right track. You see, and teach him the name of Yahushua. This is how you get on track, right? That's what that means.
As Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily, and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness, and forsook not the ordinance of their power. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to Yahweh.
Yeah, see, they take delight. We was a nation that did righteousness. That's why the commandments are pretty much embedded in us, The scripture said, love working no ill to his neighbor. You know not to steal from your brother. So when you go to teach one another, you teach them like, look, we got to stop doing this to each other. Why is it that we always got to take ourselves down? We out to take the next man or steal from the next man, but you don't look at the white man, things like that. So they got that attitude of, look, we got to do better, but they ain't got the real words to explain how to do better and why the situation we're in. That's why when you come to the Hebrew Israelites, like I told the brother, you're going to get answers. You're going to get answers. If you go to some Islam, they'll just tell you, look, we just got to start now. But the Hebrew Israelites will give you that answer and the reason we're in this situation in the first place. It's fact. So Jake gonna have to wake up eventually. If he say he got to catch the bus, I believe him. So you may see him again, Lord willing. But yeah, man, now's the time for Israel, man. Not no time for no Islam. Islam ain't got no answers. They not Islam. Islam don't got Esau shooken up. Israelites got Esau shooken up.
That's right.
Because they hear and they seeing the prophets come past, and they're scared. Islam, they ain't got nothing besides you. Islam, anybody can join that shit. Anybody. It's not like that over here, And that's what got Esau shooken up. Not no damn Islam.
That's right. And we found out from our head apostles that Malcolm X, a lot of those Islam guys, they used to go to Abba Vivens, and they used to go to different leaders of the Israelites in the house of David. They used to come to us for scriptures and for answers. All right, and then take that to their congregation. All right, so all the stuff that they got from us anyway. It says, I got a precept. It says, Baruch 2:28, as thou spakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write the law before the children of Israel, saying, if ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And that's exactly where we're at now, man. We're in the land of our captivity. You got, just like somebody who goes to jail, they got a lot of time to think, they got a lot of time to ponder. That's exactly what happened here in the land of drawn water, the land of our captivity. So that's all.
This is
shit, the Spirit got us so that we got, brothers out here multiple days. So people walking by, people looking up on the internet. I mean, come on, man, you gotta see it. You gotta see something, or somebody saw us that you know or something. Come on now.
No, I think I put it in the chat after we left camp. Went all the way over there to the grocery store. And on my way out, the security guard was like, you just downtown? I was like, oh yeah. The Great Millstone. I was like, yeah, CA, they know this.
Yeah.
So I told the brothers, don't be surprised when people recognize your faces.
Absolutely. And St. Louis is 2 degrees of separation anyway, man. Everybody out here. I done seen people I grew up with the high school and all that. Everybody from in the world, I'm pretty sure they know. Pretty sure this brother, they know exactly, what he does too.
Oh man, I've met people even other nations who I haven't seen in a while, right? And I'm thinking, okay, we're in the world, I can go over there and play cool. They look at me and they just walk away, man. And I'm like, damn, what the hell? I'm like, okay, he probably knows what's going on. I never told him, but they know, so they know. People know. And then they're gonna tell me, oh, I thought you got at the other spot, I thought you got kicked out of band or something. I said, I never got kicked out of no band. They're like, they did do that. I'm like, well, if they did, they didn't tell me, Cause I don't do none of these people. But they just don't like it. So here it is, I just stopped going. They just looked at it, yeah, we kicked him out. No, you didn't, nigga. No, you didn't. If I'd have walked back in there, y'all would have said nothing. This is Ezekiel 6 and 8. It says, yet will I leave a remnant, that ye may have some that shall escape the sword among the nations, for ye shall be scattered through the countries. And they that escape of you shall remember me among the nations, whither they be carried captives, because I am broken with their whorish heart, which have departed from me, and with their eyes, which go a-whoring after their idols. And they shall loathe themselves for the evils which they have committed in all their abominations. And they shall know that I am the Lord, that I have not said in vain that I would do this evil unto them.
That's right.
Yep, so it said that we're going to loathe ourselves in our captivity and remember everything that we did. It was just like the elder I had done, a good video dealing with these women and knowing their worth and everything. But even the apostles, they always say the same thing, like when you deal with your woman and trying to do right by her, but then you get mad because she just don't do right. And they always say, well, look, that's just the same as how the Most High dealt with Israel. Did right by us, but then it just went on. So it's like a curse to the men too. They always say that, and it hits home too. It's like, damn, it's kind of like a remembrance. Like, damn, we did that to the Lord. Messed up.
That's all right.
How we go to?
Basically. With that being said, we want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Ruach HaKodesh. All right, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well. As you can see, it's warming up. We got a lot of activity going on. So if the Lord permits, we're gonna still be out here teaching until we can't be. All right, what they're saying now, they're talking about reopening cities and talking about the virus is going down, so hey, we hasten the day for the Lord, but we'll see. Hey, brothers, stay tuned, stay up. Shalom.